know if I just go ahead and start or.
Yes, I was just finding the record button so we could get started. We will have Anissa Jepson start us out discussing
Okay.
service learning projects.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm glad to see so many of you on here. My name is Anissa Jepson. I am a state specialist. I focus on STEM and natural resources. I do shooting sports, and right now I'm also doing some animal science, egg and animal science. So I'm really excited to be with you all in this session. We're going to do some peer-to-peer sharing. So Donna's going to break you up into some rooms so that you can share some of the things that you've done in your local county or district. And then we're also going to learn a little bit more about planning a service learning project. So the first thing though I want to do is, I don't know if you guys have ever done atomic chat. So we're going to try this. So I want you all to pull up your chat if you can. I know some of you are on a phone, maybe can't, or maybe you're way more tech savvy than I am and can do it, but pull up your chat and I want you to type in your county or district, but don't hit send yet. I'm going to do a countdown of send, and then we're going to be able to see everybody roll down at the same time. So everybody type in your county or district, but do not hit send. So when I see all of you kind of look like you're stopped typing. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I'll give us a countdown, and then I'm gonna have you hit send when I get down to 1, and we'll see kind of roll up all the different counties and districts that are here today. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hit send. Awesome. It looks like we are a pretty good representation from all over the state. So that's what I like to see. That's really cool. So thank you all for being here, and we'll do one more atomic chat before we kind of get into this stuff. So I want you, I know this has been kind of a weird year for all of us, right? And I know most of you are done with school or homeschooling, and it looks like you all survived your parents helping you through that transition, which I know for some of you probably was you teaching your parents more so than they teaching you. But what I want you to do is, what is the thing you're most looking forward to this summer? So type it in the chat, but don't hit send. So what is the thing you're most looking forward to this summer? Okay, get everyone all typed in the thing you're most looking forward to this summer, and we'll do another countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see it. Awesome. Softball, fishing, swimming, fair, dance, everything getting back to normal. That's right, Emma. Track, drive-in movies. Awesome. County fair, football, swimming, seeing friends. I'm with you on that. Like, I like to be home sometimes, but I don't like people telling me I have to be home. So just being able to go and do some things is going to be exciting. Church. Yeah. So it's definitely been a different year for us all. We're all kind of struggling through it. And I think we're all doing great. That's one good thing 4-H has taught us, is to be resilient. So what we're going to do is talk a little bit about service learning. And I know it looks a little bit different, you know, in the past couple of months, or the things that we've been doing look a little bit different. So we're going to talk some more about that. So today, well, of course, let's try this again. So today, the agenda is we're going to talk about choosing your cause, addressing some needs within your community, planning a cause, and then sharing some ideas out. And I really like this quote from Rosa Parks. I use this a lot. I write it down in my planner every year, and if you know me well, I have a lot of different planners. I go from digital to paper to whatever, but to bring about change, you must not be afraid to take the first step. We will fail, if we don't try. So we fail to try. So remember, like, it's not going to be perfect, whatever we do, but we have to keep trying. So those are the things we're going to talk about today, and let's talk about this. So we're going to use chat again. I want you to think about some things that you've seen within your community. And your community can look different, as we know. It could be your local community. It could be a regional community. It could be your statewide community. It could be the nation. It could be your virtual community. I want you to think about, so what are some of the problems you've seen, heard, read about, or experienced that have sparked an interest or concerned you? So we're going to use that chat feature again. I'm going to count it down, and I'm going to have you do atomic chat. So what are some things that you've seen that have really sparked your interest or concerned you? For example, I'm from the Midwest originally, but severe weather is one of those things that I've always just been really concerned about. So when we moved to Kansas, the first thing I could think about is the Wizard of Oz. That didn't turn out so well for Dorothy. And so the thought of being in a tornado is something that kind of freaks me out. So that's something I'm really concerned about as we go into like tornado season, which I feel like sometimes in Kansas is all the time. So that's something that concerns me is weather safety. So type in something that you've heard, seen that sparks your interest, you're concerned about, and we will hit send in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, great. Food, trash, hunger, lack of youth involvement, great. Nature, pollution. You guys have some really great things. Respecting elders, weather safety, that's right. Positivity. Those are all really good things to be thinking about. So if you have something to jot that down with what you put down, I want you to just kind of write that down off to the side and thinking about this area that you felt like that was very concerning to you. And we're gonna think through some things as we go through this presentation. And you're gonna share out in your breakout rooms too. So just be thinking about the thing that you thought sparked that interest or concern. So some of the things, when I was doing some research, I went to a couple of websites that were talking about some causes or some service learning projects that youth had been doing. And here's some things that were within the top 10 of what kids were concerned about and youth across the country. So this isn't just in Kansas. So I saw a lot of the same things that you all were saying that youth in our nation were saying. So if you were unsure of a cause that was interest to you, here's some options. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about service learning. And service learning is different from community service in one major way. That community service is something that just happens to you. So in your community, let's say you have a food bank and they get a big shipment of canned goods in, and the food bank kind of sends out something to your mom, dad, parent, email to your leader and says, we need help unloading a truck. So your leader, your parent, adult says, hey, you guys show up at noon, we're gonna unload this truck and we're gonna help the food bank out. And then that's it. So it's more of something that happens to you. You just show up, you do your work, and you've helped out, which is great. We need that. But service learning is really where we identify a need that creates or sparks a passion within us, and then we help plan how we're going to bring about change. So that's the big difference between service learning and community service. So service learning has the community service aspect, but you get to really define and determine how that looks for you. So just keep that in mind. We still need people to just show up and do work, but we also need those that are really defining what work needs to be done and how we're going to do the work. So that's the way that we're going to look at this today. Okay, let me see if I can. Okay, so again, I'm going to do some atomic chat. I want you to think about that cause that you put in the chat. Why was it important to you? And what would you like to see change? So it's kind of two questions. So we'll do the first one first. So why was that cause important to you? When I think about disaster preparedness or severe weather, it's important to me because I worry about my family's safety. That's why I have indicated that. So when you think about why that cause, what was the thing that made it important to you? So I'll give you a minute to type that in. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I love it. I love all the comments. So it's important because people feel left out or don't know how to be a part of a group. So if you look through your challenges, I think it's really great to think through why the cause is important to you. So again, as we're going to go in the breakout rooms, think about that. Keep that in the back of your mind. And then one more question before we move on to the next thing is, what would you like to see change? So when you think about your cause and why it's important to you, what would be the change you would like to see? So we'll do another atomic chat. So why is it important to you? We already answered that. And what would you like to see change? So in my scenario of disaster and severe weather, I would like to see a better warning system. So I want to know more. I want to know as soon as possible that a tornado is hit in my area or something like that. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see it. Okay. So I love that you all have an idea of what your cause is, why it was important to you, and what you want to see change in that cause. So that's great. So let's keep that in the back of our mind and let's move on to the next thing. So when we think about our cause, when we think about what we want to change and how we want to change it, it's important that we think about our personal passions. So we all have things that we're interested in or that we're really good at, and it's different for everyone. And so the next thing I want you all to do is to think about something that you're really good at or that you are really interested in. So that could be music, leadership. I know a lot of you are on youth council and serve in leadership roles in your school, in your church, in your community. Some of you are interested in computers, software design, websites, things like that. Some of you love art, and that could be all different mediums. Some of you like the outdoors. I saw some favorite things to get back to is hunting or just being outside. Some of you like to build things. Some of you like to do movies, to take pictures, all those things. So I want another chat. We're going to talk about what is one personal passion. And I know we all have tons of different things that we are really passionate about, but just pick one thing. So for me, mine is art. So I love to do art. So think about your one personal passion and let's do an atomic chat. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I love it. So many different things that people love, that are good at, and that want to do. So helping others, sketching, basketball, sports, a lot of tons of different things. So think about those things. Your personal passions, we've identified a cause. I know we're going through this all really quickly, but we will definitely have some time. We can send something out that you can help others in your clubs go through this thing too. Okay, so I want you to think about your cause. I want you to think about the thing that you wanted to change about your cause. I want you to think about your personal passion or the thing that you're really interested in, and how would you use your personal passion to address the needs of your cause? So for me, I really like art and I'm really concerned about severe weather. So what are ways I could use art to create a service learning project about severe weather? So how would I do that? For me, that might be creating some public service announcements that could be posted on social media. It could be old school, making flyers for people to hang up around their communities. Um, it could be creating a logo for some severe weather training or things like that. So I want you to think back. So some of you that really liked being outdoors or like sports or like your passion, how would you use that part of it to further your cause? When I think about people that have the passion to do livestock or to be in sports, I think about the commitment, the time commitment, um, the ability to really focus on one thing. Think about things like that when you think about how you would use your passion to address the needs in your community. So this one's a little harder. So we'll give you a few minutes to type in and then I'll count down. Okay, let's do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's some great ideas in there. So I love how you really thought through how you could help move your cause forward. So that's really great. So when we think about how we're going to move our cause forward, there's some different avenues we can use to move our cause. And I think this was really important because I think a lot of times when we think of community service as just an activity, we like, oh, we will go to the food bank and we'll help sort food, or we'll serve at the homeless shelter. And those are all great. We'll collect, you know, right around Christmas time, we'll collect money or we'll collect goods to do adopt a family or things like that. So we think of those things as ways that we could have an action strategy, but there's also other ways. So for me, I could do advocacy or awareness. If I were super into art and wanted to move severe weather impact forward, I would create that educator inform that flyer, do social media posts, things like that. That's what awareness is. Service is just those volunteer hours. So a lot of times the things that we need to do is that we need to take our time and our talent and give that away to our cause because there's a need in the community. The awareness, like I said, is educating, informing others to know about our cause. Advocacy, that's really where we speak out, where we join others and persuade policymakers to change policy. So that is writing letters to your government or things like that. And then philanthropy is really giving or collecting or donating financial or things. So if we know that the food banks or the homeless shelters are really low on personal products, we know that we need to do either raise money to buy, let's say, more shampoos, soap, things like that, or socks, or we need to round up those supplies. So that's how we would do philanthropy. So when you think back to your cause, you think back to your personal passion, all those parts, what is the way that you would move your cause forward? Would you do awareness? Would you do service, advocacy, or philanthropy? So think through that of how the best way you could share your cause. And then we'll do a countdown and we'll share it in our chat. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awareness. Oh, I like that. Someone said they would try to do all of the different strategies. So maybe deciding which strategies are the most important. We have a lot of people that did pick a couple of different ones because maybe one didn't fit. So that's great. So thinking through how that really is going to work in the real world is important. Okay. And the final thing that we're going to think about before we get into our breakout rooms, there's two more things. We're going to think about these things when you're thinking about community service as part of your service learning project. So a lot of times we all have really good ideas for making things better. We've identified a need, we know things need to be done, but we still need to think through these items because they're very important. And like I said, we do have a planning sheet that I can share out and email to all of you that participated in this so that you can walk through it with your club leaders or your school, or walk through it yourself as you're trying to determine a service learning project. So it's important that you understand or think through your time and skills. So how long would it take to work on this project? And do you have the skills that are needed, or do you need to work on some other skills to make it happen? So be thinking about time. Think about if the project really will have a positive impact on your community, or what that would look like for your community. So we all know how to make goals, right? Everyone already has their goals made. You make them at the beginning of your 4-H year, and then you're measuring them and you're looking back at them. So service learning projects, the same thing. We need to make sure that we have our goals set, and then we can make sure that we're reaching those goals and measuring the impact we have within our project or service learning project. We need to think through how we're going to promote the project. I don't know about you, but it's no fun to do something all by yourself. So how can you include friends and family and your other 4-H members, your leaders? So think through how you can get other people just as excited about your project as you are. Again, time. Is there enough time to plan and complete the project? So we think about things that maybe there's an immediate need. I always think about this at Christmas time, because that's when everyone, it seems, that really kicks into the giving spirit. And so a lot of times, is there enough time to raise the money we need to do and adopt a family or something like that? So thinking through the timeline. If we're looking at a really large project, how much time is really needed? And these are the things that you're going to want to talk through with your adult leader or your family to think through the help that you might need to create a service learning project. Funding. Are we going to need to have money to start the project, or is it going to be goods? When we think about advocacy, a lot of times there might not be money we would need. We would just need time to write letters or to contact our representatives or things like that. But when we think about maybe those of you that loved sports and saw that in your community that your baseball field needed a whole revamp, like needed new sod, new dirt, things like that, how much funding is that going to take and how much time? So you really have to think through what your project is and what the funding and time would be. And then project supplies. Again, depending on your project, there might be more supplies you need, less supplies you need. You might not need anything. Maybe it is just you going out and doing some videos and things like that. So those are some things to think about. And then finally, before we break into our breakout rooms, you remember, do the things that you love. Make sure you pick a project that means something to you. Be active in the decision making. We can all show up at our club meeting, and our club leaders, our adults, are really great at coming up with ideas for us. Let me tell you, as a club leader, I could come up with some great ideas, for my club to do or my youth council when I was an agent. But unless you guys are really excited about it, then it's not going to be successful. So it's important that you have your voice and that you use your voice and that you're active in the decision making. Also, as older 4-Hers, you really speak for the younger 4-Hers too. So you need to make sure that you're a part of that. The other thing you need to do is connect your passion with a need. Again, if you're really passionate about something, look out in your community and see if something is needed. It's important that we do those things so that we can have a need or have our passion be part of a need, and then pay attention and take action. The world is changing faster than we adults like it to, and so we need to make sure to see a need, and then we need to take action and determine what we can do to help things. So we're going to break out into small groups. Donna is going to put you in groups. There should be an adult in every group that can help guide some of these questions. We're going to be in our breakout rooms for about 20 minutes, so you're definitely going to have time to go through all of these questions. And what we want to do when we come back out of our breakout time is to share some really good ideas with the rest of the people in our groups. We also want to think about, are there things that we could do as a whole, as Kansas 4-H, that we could maybe come up with a project or an area that we could focus on? If we see a lot of commonalities or a lot of things that people are interested in, maybe there's something that we can help create going forward. And then I want you to make sure you share out with your participants in your breakout rooms some challenges you faced as you did some community service or service learning within your clubs or with your schools, because a lot of times we can learn from each other. And we're going to ask that you be make sure that you share and that you be really vocal and participate in your breakout rooms. So Donna, you'll be moving them by themselves. They'll just automatically move, right?
I have them assigned, so I'm going to press the open rooms and see what happens.
Yeah, and then we'll also give you time. We'll let you know when the room time is almost over. So you're going to get, the host is inviting you to a breakout room. I want you to click join, and it's going to throw you into a breakout room. And we will put in the chat the questions, so you should have those.
And Anissa, it did not let me put myself in a room. It let me put you in a room.
Okay. I wonder if I have to take over again.
And I've got a couple I need to assign, so I'm going to get that done.
Okay. So is there an adult in room 4?
No. And I would go there, but I'm not even sure how to get there. It won't let me assign
You can just
myself.
move to, yeah, you can just move to room 4. Yeah, you can just go to the room though.
Do you know how to do that? Because I don't. Oh, yes, I do. I see it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so just join breakout room 4. And then
How are we all doing? So Anissa mentioned there are a couple of questions we're going to go through as a group and talk through. If you would like, you are welcome to unmute yourself while we're in the chat or in the breakout room. And I'm gonna put a little, let's see. Okay, so the first question was, what are projects that you personally have been involved with or you have done? So do you guys want to unmute yourselves and talk through this, or would you rather do the atomic chat like Anissa had mentioned or had been doing earlier?
Atomic chat.
You want to do atomic chat or? So can you guys tell me a project that you've been involved with or you have done as a group?
We do May baskets.
We do May baskets
For the senior citizens.
for senior citizens.
That's a great idea. May baskets. Anybody else?
My club did a canned food structure to raise food for the food pantry.
Very good. Anybody else have some ideas?
My club recently did Memorial Day baskets.
Oh, nice, nice.
Not baskets, but we put up the flags at the cemetery.
Oh, okay, okay, very good. Okay, well, are there any projects that maybe you would like to do that you haven't had an opportunity to, either in your club or your community?
How about putting tulips
The senior citizens.
at the citizens?
With senior citizens? That sounds like a good idea. Anybody else think of something they'd like to try, maybe? I know our club, we try to help in the community and do things like caroling at Christmas. We also have a little flower bed in our city park that one of my organizations, we always put the new flowers in every spring so that the flower bed in the park for everybody to enjoy has new flowers. So those are two ideas that we've done just here in our community. So
I'd like to start a community garden.
oh, that's a good idea. That takes a little work, doesn't it? But it's definitely worth it. I think you could reach out to some people in your area, maybe your school or your club could work towards that. That's a great idea. Has anybody in this group ever worked with a community garden at all?
We've done community flower beds in our club, but never garden.
Yeah,
Our county has a garden.
it does. Good. And
Our
do you have,
elementary has a farm.
oh, the elementary school does? That's a great idea. Okay, well, what kind of challenges would you face? Like if we wanted to do a community garden or some of your other ideas, what kind of challenges can you come up with that we might face in trying to do this in our communities? What's something we see going on right now that causes a real challenge? Yeah, the weather is definitely a challenge, especially for a garden and such.
COVID.
Yeah, COVID, that's really sprung up so a lot of issues. We can't get together to do a lot of it. And you realize when we can't get together, how much it actually takes teamwork to be able to accomplish something. And so that's a huge barrier right now, is the not being able to get together and do it as a team. I did see down in Wichita where they were doing a community garden, and you would sign up for shifts to do your part, where they would go in and take shifts on what they wanted to work on, whether it be weeding a certain area, or if they're maybe planting certain things, or they're going to be responsible for doing the watering one day a week or something. But you had to sign up for shifts now so that you could avoid having too much social or the interaction and remaining with the social distancing issues. What's another big key component for a lot of things we want to do? And I bet you face this every day. It's a challenge that we all face. Do we have enough money to be able to do what we need to? Cost can be a huge barrier for almost any challenge we're looking at. Whether it be something like your community garden, whether you need to find a space that you could do it, or have the equipment and the seeds and such to be able to do it. All those kind of costs, that's one big challenge. Can anybody else think of a challenge they might have to face?
Not having the time.
Yeah, time is a very big issue. How about anybody else? What about being able to find someone who is
Getting people to actually sign up.
Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one. Getting people to volunteer their time. That's a very hot commodity, and so that is a struggle for sure. Another thing, depending on what you're wanting to do, it could be that you need to find someone who has the knowledge about what you want to do. You might need to find some master gardeners. If you're going to work at a humane shelter, maybe you need to know about the animals that are in there. So you got to find a person who's knowledgeable about the animals that you're working with before you just go in and volunteer. You need to have some training or something along those lines. So many of us have been in 4-H or in other organizations for at least a few years. So can all of you, or at least some of you, give us an idea of what some of your favorite projects that you've been involved with have been?
Dogs.
When you say dogs, what are some of the projects that you've done with, or, what have you done with them? Do you show them?
I show my dog, I show an agility, showmanship, obedience, and rally.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Anybody else want to talk about their favorite project?
I do cake decorating and woodworking. That's fun.
That's cool. Both of those can have some very detailed skills that are involved with those. That's awesome. How about anybody else? Want to tell us about your favorite project? I saw someone, I'm not sure if she's in our group, but said poultry was her.
I'm in the group.
Okay, great. So you have poultry, right?
Yeah, I have chickens that I show.
Awesome. So do they all have names?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing I have learned over the years, and especially this spring with the COVID and everyone needing to kind of do your stay at home, stay safe, was we have a lot of experienced youth that are involved with discovery days and involved with youth council and involved with so much that you are a huge resource. And I don't know if any of you have ever thought about it, but you could, and I've seen this on some of like the Facebook pages for different research and extension offices throughout the state, you could offer to record a video about your project that you're passionate about and help youth that are a lot younger than you learn to learn about that project. So if you are good at cake decorating, maybe you could do a short 2-minute how-to video to get youth in your club or youth in your county interested in that same project. And so maybe you could be a mentor to them. That is a great service project that maybe you could be, you could help with. Do you know how to reach out to your extension agents and offer that kind of service to them? Or have any of you done this already?
So Johnson County ambassadors, we are making videos to tell people about projects.
Fantastic. That's a great benefit because you guys have the knowledge
One
of
of our
it.
extension officers is in our club.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. Anybody else have some ideas like that? Well, I'll tell you what. I can guarantee
I
that
think
all.
some cooking that doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you can also help with different support on like different projects. Like if you like to cook, that would be a great one that you could do. I will tell you that you are all a lot more tech savvy than I am. And so most of you would be able to record and post and share. We want to do it in the proper channels, of course, but those are real meaningful things that you can do and help with others that are learning along the way. I believe the last question I'm going to ask is about, are there projects that you would like to see done as an entire state? So is there a service project or a way to give back that we could share throughout the state? I do know I just saw in the last couple of days that with all of the COVID issues over in Missouri, they did a huge food drive through all of Missouri 4-H, and they raised thousands of pounds of food for the different food banks in the different counties. So I was just wondering if you guys can come up with, and it'd be nice if we could come up with maybe 2 ideas, if anybody has some ideas that we could do throughout the state.
I think the food drive sounds like a good idea.
I'm just throwing this out there, but my 4-H club has done a service project where we all take a highway and then we clean up that whole highway from trash.
How about doing math?
Yeah, the cleanup thing is a huge idea as far as our whole countryside has really gotten full of a lot of litter. And so I think that's a huge step and a good move in the right direction to cleaning up where we live and taking care of this world a little bit better. Okay, anything else that you guys would like to talk about service projects? I'd love to hear if one of our sessions that we have that goes on at Discovery Days is called 48 Hours of 4-H. And they talk a lot about service projects and things you can do during a certain week in October, which is 4-H week. And I just was wondering if any of you had ever participated in something in those 48 hours of 4-H, either in your county or even just in your club. Did you guys do anything like that? Well, I would hope that you guys consider that this fall when we get to October and have our 4-H week and really talk about volunteer service to our community. Consider doing something as a club or such so that we can give back to those who always support us, whether it be at the fair or even just working on projects and sharing their knowledge. That's a good opportunity to give back to our community. Let me see if I have one more question here. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask. So one of the big things with COVID was the need for masks. And I just wondered if anybody on here had gotten into the sewing or crafting habit this spring to make masks. Did you?
My mother did. She took over the table.
Your mother took over the table? How many masks did she make?
40.
Oh, awesome. Some people have sold them, some people donated them. What did she do with her masks? Do you know?
To the veterans home.
Oh, that's very sweet. We appreciate that because I guarantee you they will use those and be glad to have them.
They're already out.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I know my mom made some and is on her third wave of making masks right now. That's for sure. They are being used. Julia, did I see you raise your hand as well? Did you make some masks this year?
Yeah, me and my family did. We made, I believe, 20 for our hospitals and just the senior center.
Well, that is very nice. That's a great service that we can provide. And it's also something that we can work on some of us are in the sewing projects. So definitely a way to keep our skills honed up there and serve our community. So we appreciate that very much. Well, I'm going to see if we are ready to come back as a whole group yet. Okay, so just hold on. All right, thanks. Okay, I think we're ready to go back to our other room. So I'm going to go ahead and send us back that way. Thanks, guys.
Okay, it looks like we've all made it back to the main room. Okay, I wanted to take some time. We have about 8 minutes. And wanted to know if there were any of the groups that would like to share out. I don't want to make you guys share out, but is there any of the groups that would like to share out?
Anissa Elena from our group has volunteered to do that. It looks like she's ready to go.
Awesome. Okay, let's hear it, Elena.
All right, so we had several good ideas for like challenges that we face when working on projects. And so we were willing to do many projects like fix up the fairgrounds or picking up litter near the roads, or making a 5K to help people who have been affected by natural disasters. And some people haven't been able to do that because of COVID-19 or weather and other things like that. And so we were hoping that after all this crazy stuff happens, that we can get back to doing all that we can.
Good. So did you have any ideas that we could do maybe as a bigger group? Did you get to that?
Yeah, we worked together and we thought about having victory gardens, like gardens that people who don't have much food or much money can come out and pick the food so that they can eat it.
Good. That's a good one. Especially, or there might just be people that can't garden, because that might be me. It might not be that. I don't have the resources. I don't have the knowledge or the know-how. Okay, great. Are there any other groups that wanted to share out? Thanks, Elena. Good job. And if you don't want to talk, you can chat. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, I can talk about our group.
Okay.
So one thing that we talked about was that we've had some problems getting like commitment to come to a service project, or people signing up and then not coming. So we talked about ways that we can help with that, like having an incentive to come, like getting a t-shirt or a pizza or something like that if you come work on it, and then having input, like having people help decide what we're going to do so that we know that everyone's interested, and then sending out reminders as it comes up on the day so that people don't forget, or they can reevaluate if they need to move things around in their schedule.
So I like those two things that we need to always remember: input and reminders. Because if we're always just being told what we're going to do, that is not fun. Like, no, it doesn't matter how old you are or how much responsibility you have or anything. If you're always told what to do, then I am less likely to want to do it. So input is cool. And then reminders, because I know that even the start of having to be in quarantine, like I signed up for a lot of stuff because I'm like, oh, I'm going to have all this time to do things. And if I don't have a reminder, then it's not that it's any less important, but other things happen and things like that. So I think those are two really good things to think about. Okay, anyone else have anything that I want to share out?
This is kind of in response to reminding people of things. I don't know if any other 4-H clubs have a group me message. That's what my 4-H club uses. We have a really big 4-H club, so it kind of gets annoying when you send a group text or just send iMessages, and then if someone responds, then you have like 50 responses and your phone goes off all day. So we use an app called GroupMe, or if you want to set up a reminder, you can bring up the idea of I think it's called Google Calendar or something, and it just kind of puts in just a reminder into your phone, and it'll go off as an alert, like, okay, you have this event in a couple of days. So your leaders or whatever would put into the calendar certain dates, and you should get a notification on your phone about it.
So that's good to know, because if we're not, as adults, not reminding you guys the way that you're going to check it, it does no good, you know? So we have to make sure that we're doing it the way that you all need to have it done. Okay, so I want to do a couple of atomic chats again, because they're my favorite, because I'm old, and that's when I get something I really like, then I do it a lot. So I want you all to share what was one of your favorite service learning projects that you've done? So we're going to do a countdown. So, okay, so I want to hear a favorite project that you've done. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Oh, those are all good ideas. Great. And then one more, and then we're gonna kind of be done for the day, is what is, if you could do one project as you thought about this last hour, like what is one project that you feel like you would want to do? If you could kind of combine all your stuff, what is one project that you've been thinking about? So let's do that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, great. It's okay if you're not like completely sure what you want to do, but I like these ideas. Awareness about things, sharing projects with communities. Good. Okay, that's great. I have no clue. Yeah, Beth is all about 48 hours of 4-H answer. She's like, that's good. That shows that it's fun and we like doing it. So that's cool. Okay, so one more thing, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. I thank you so much for participating. This has been really fun for me. I have a huge passion for community service and learning projects. So thank you for letting me share with you all today. So this is my favorite one because I like to do things big, and I like it when people say I can't do something or that I'm not going to be able to do something, because then guess what? That makes me want to do it, and it makes me want to do it well. And I know that 4-Hers in general, that's the same thing. So just remember, the people crazy enough to try and change the world are the ones that usually do, and more than likely they are a 4-Her. So when you get some information out, you'll see that I do have some hashtags as we start thinking about 4-H and your clubs and getting back together, that you use some hashtags. And I want to see some of those service projects that you all are thinking of or that you're trying to do. If you have questions or need help or want to talk, have your leader talk through some things, you can email me or you can reach out to Beth or anyone else at the state office, your regional specialist, your county agent. We're all here to help. Thank you guys for all you do, and have a good rest of the day. Thank you.